Hey guys, welcome back to Minibike Mike's Garage. Well, as you saw at the beginning of this video, another one of those old rusty rotted bikes out of Michigan has been kind of saved. It's usable again. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, what was it, 5 or 6 weeks ago, I made a trip up to the Grand Rapids, Michigan area, and I picked up 24 really rough bikes. They were part of an old church camp, and they've been sitting since the early 80s. And the weather had gotten to them, and they were rough, or they are rough. Now, I've done a video series on one of the bikes. That's this red K1 that you see right here. And me being not a purist, I did away with the original engine. It was just a little too far gone for me. So I put a 110cc aftermarket engine in it, lots of new parts, cables, and so forth, seat. And in the last video I did on this, we actually rode it, and it is a ripper. It rips so well that I actually decided to go and I applied for a title. So hopefully sometime in the next couple days or a week, I should have a title, clean Indiana title for that bike. Back to this one. So after I get all those bikes home, I'm talking to my dad, and he's like, well, what in the world are you going to do with all those bikes? And I'm like, well, they're going to be projects, they're content for the YouTube channel or whatever. And he's like, do you mind if I come up and look at them and maybe pick one out and work on it? I'm like, well, heck no, Dad, come on up. Let's get you one here. And so he came up, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and we dug through the pile and we tried to find, one of the nicer ones, so he wouldn't have to work too hard on it. It still had the tires were locked up, didn't turn, and the engine was just a mess. Now, Dad's a little more of a purist than I am, and he worked and tried to get the original engine to go, but it was just too far gone. So I had another CT70 engine on the shelf. I think this one's out of a K0, so unfortunately he had to give up on the original, but he wanted to keep it Honda, so that it is still a Honda. As you can see, it's got a few aftermarket parts like the exhaust that I gave him, and it's got the wrong seat. But his goal for the bike was not to restore it. His goal was to basically save it, to make it a rider again. Oh, look at that, 44. Every bike up at that camp had a number on it, so they could keep track of it. This was apparently this was the the Hank Aaron bike. That's kind of cool. His goal was not, he just wanted to see if he could get it from the sad shape it was in to making it run and ride. And as you saw at the very beginning of the video, he succeeded. He did a daggone good job, actually. The frame is in much better shape than what I started with that one. If you remember, if you go back and watch videos on that, it had a huge hole right here where this one actually is not too bad. It's got some rust and so forth, and the paint's faded and the decals are bad, but the frame is actually pretty solid on this. Another thing, there's a couple things that are amazing about this bike. One, these are the original tires and tubes and rim. He got them to hold air. He put air in them, and they stayed up for over 2 weeks now. That's kind of amazing. Now this tire's shot, as you can see, but it is holding air and you can ride it. Even more incredible, he got the bar knobs free. And you can actually fold down the handlebars on this. Now, every bike I've went back there and touched, I just twist the knob right off the post. And how he got those free is beyond me. I have no idea. He put on some new gaiters, and the front end was stuck. He got it all freed up, so it actually cycles. Now, didn't take the time to put new seals and so forth in it, so I think it's this one that leaks a little oil. But again, he wasn't restoring it. He was just trying to make it function without putting a ton of money into the thing. It's got lights on it, the headlight and the tail light. But I told him, don't mess with the electrical. We're just making a yard rider. We're not going to have a title, so none of the lights, none of the electrical's hooked up. But I will say the electrical is in pretty decent shape. Just like that K1, wherever they had these, there must have not been any mice, because the wiring is not really chewed up and it's in pretty decent shape. This particular bike even has the original key, and it turns the lock, but the pin doesn't pop out. So it must be rusty stuck or something. The tank was shot, so we got a used tank and put in there. Got it to function. What else? It doesn't have the correct speedometer, but it does have a speedometer, and it actually works. Like I said, we put some new cables, or he put some new cables on it. You know, this bike is a K3, which was the first year for the turn signals. Unfortunately, when I bought all these bikes out of Michigan, the guy did not have any of the turn signals, so don't have those. I think he put new, when he got the tires and rims to turn, he put new brakes on them. He got the internal throttle to clear up, to kind of, it's still got the cruise control. You turn it, it still sticks. It doesn't return like all of them do, but it does work. Now this engine and carb, obviously that's not the correct carb. He just, you know, threw something on there that he had. The engine, it's got a little bit of an oil drip. I believe the gasket is gone on this plate that, on the end of the head here. It seeps a little bit out of there. He just plugged off one of the lines, and since this carburetor only had a single line to it, so I don't know. There you go. That's, like I said, I'm thrilled to death with what he did. I can't believe he actually saved it as well as he did, and he had a great time. He had such a good time that when he brought this one back yesterday, he rummaged through the pile again and picked up another one. So he's actually got a different one. It's still a K3, but it's the blue version of the K3. He took one of those, and he's going to tinker with it now for the next few weeks and see what he can do with it. But what do I need to? I need to move these along. We got, you know, 10, 12 more bikes to build. If you are interested in either one of these or a package deal, and we'll throw them together, hit me up with an email, ct70help@gmail.com. Like I said, that's a K1 that has a 110cc engine, and it's going to have a good, clean Indiana title. This one is a K3, just a yard rider. That's all it is. And it needs a lot of work. I mean, it needs tires. It needs probably some gaskets on the engine to keep it from leaking. But it does run and ride and do all the things it's supposed to. None of the electrical is hooked up. But if you're just looking for something just to buzz around the yard, he put a new chain and adjusters on it. So hit me up. Like I said, ct70help@gmail.com. Dad, thank you very much for saving that one. Appreciate all your efforts toward that. Hope you had fun. You must have if you grabbed another bike. So all you guys out there in YouTube world, I'll see you on the next video. Everybody have a great day. Thanks.